Greetings, 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 peace and blessings, brothers and sisters of the planet. This is your brother, your friend, your digital content strategist and publicist, Toure Muhammad. We're broadcasting live from Chicago, North America, baby. We are here at Intellectual Radio Studios with our esteemed brother, our long lost brother. We're back at home. We're like the prodigal son. We're here at Intellectual Radio Studios with Earl Winfrey. And I'm telling you, man, this thing here is off the chain. When I left, they were in one location, had one studio room. Now we're here in one of really four studio rooms, because they have a big space. I mean, it's just, man, so much happening here. So I'm so excited to be in this space, and I'm thankful to him for creating a platform for folks to be able to share their message and promote businesses, promote worthy causes. So I'm excited to be here. Now you're listening now. That's right. You're listening now to the Black Business Matter Show. This is our debut show. This is the first one, man. If you're watching now, you're part of history. If you will watch it, you'll be watching history with this incredible new podcast that we're launching to celebrate Black people's contributions to the business world, and where we can help encourage a new generation of entrepreneurs. So shout out to those who believe in prayer and works. Shout out to those who believe it's your time. Shout out to those who believe in seeking to create a legacy for themselves and for their families for generations to come. This is the show for you. So, man, I'm so excited to be here as usual. Today, it is March 6th, and it's a beautiful day in Chicago. And before, I know you see this good-looking brother over here sitting upright and perpendicular on the square. So we're going to introduce him in a quick second, but I want to give you a quick message first, right? Getting started. This is about, as I thought about this show and what I hope that it means, right? And what this show, I think, would do. I could have taken a lot of time. I could have taken 5 to 6 months, a year to start planning and preparing for it, but that was not in the cards, right? Because sometimes we think too much and act too little. So when I decided to do the show, matter of fact, I decided to do it, and I decided to do it in March, and then I reached out to Earl. He was congratulating me on the idea of starting a new show. He didn't know that the idea was to have it here at Intellectual Radio, right? So when he came, when he let me know there was a slot open, I said, yeah, the cards are here. So I decided to get started. I didn't think too much about it. I didn't want to try to figure this out without, with too much planning, too much preparation, right? Because like I'm saying, we don't understand how to start something, how to keep it moving, and then how to stop it. You know, everything goes through these cycles of actions, right? There's a cycle of life. We're born, we live, and we die. When you're in business, you got to get in business, and you get on your business, and then you stay in business. And depending upon what your exit strategy is, it may be to end that business in your lifetime. It may be to pass it on to your children. It may be for generations to come, but there's an exit strategy that you should be thinking about. These cycles of action are so important for us to understand, and most of us don't ever get started. I've been in business and doing things in business since 2001 in terms of media and being through times. And I know some folks who have business ideas for the past 20 years and they have not started yet. They research and they know a lot now. They have a lot of information, but they have not started their business. So my first encouragement to everyone is to get started in your business. Whatever idea you have, get moving, start planning, start preparing, start studying, and start doing proactive things to get that business going. Now we're going to do a real, I'm talking about 10-second, maybe 20-second break. because we actually have not just one good-looking brother, we got two good-looking brothers. No, actually three good-looking brothers. With myself, the bald-headed one. So, man, we're gonna have an incredible conversation with these two brothers. So just hold on for about 15 seconds, and we're gonna get started. What's up, brother? Doing good. How you doing? Good, good. Come on in. Sit next to that brother. You come on, yeah, come around that side. Man, I appreciate both of you all. You might, that might be a little easier. You real swept with it. It's all that running. How many miles you do today?
None today.
None?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I gotta take a day to rest after I run.
I'll tell you, pick up the whole stand and just pull it towards the whole stand. Put the whole stand. Yeah, you pull it towards you. Put it towards. There you go.
That right? Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, we're back. I told you it's going to be very brief. And like magic, we have two people now in the room, in the building. And today is March 6th, and this is the Black Business Matters Show. This is our very first show. And I cannot be more honored and more pleased for these two brothers I have here today. When you talk about, there's a hashtag on Facebook, right? Black excellence, right? And there is a ideal that we all are striving for to be the best that we can be. And of course, when you get yourself out in front in the public, when you have a business, it's so you open yourself up to the criticism. Right? There are many people who think they're excellent, and they're excellent in their own mind, right? But excellent is not for you to decide. Not in the end. In the beginning it is, right? You have to have the right mindset. But in the end, the people are going to tell you whether or not you're excellent, right? Yes. By watching your display. Right. So we have two brothers here who display excellence in business. And again, it's not what necessarily they say, but it is what the people say, and the people are reflecting, I think, both of you all's mindset. So we have to my immediate right, we have, you know about him, you've heard about him, and his team on Chicago's Best. You've heard about him on NBC. You've heard about him on ABC with The Hungry Hound. I mean, every food critic, I think, in the city of Chicago has not, if they haven't put him as the top ice cream shop, he is always in the top 2 or 3. And he is Yahya Muhammad, owner of Shawn Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Glad to have you, brother. How you doing today?
An absolute pleasure.
Man, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you.
Indeed.
And to your right, we have a brother who, him and his wife created an amazing business.
That's right.
His name, the name precedes him. They probably know the name more than they know him. He's probably walks into places and he introduces himself as Craig Richardson. They say, "Hey, how you doing?" And then somebody says he's the owner of Banner and Berries, and then the crowd roars. Right? Man, an incredible model, an incredible business.
That's right.
And we are so excited to have the co-owner with him. His wife is the other co-owner, is not here, but he has himself here representing Craig Richardson with Banner and Berries.
Thank you, Toure. Glad to be here.
Man, it is a pleasure. So let's have a good conversation. I'm gonna ask some open questions that I, of course, love you all to tag team and chime in on. And after I ask this first question, I'm gonna get up and adjust it just a little bit so we can see Craig's full body. But, my brother Earl has that. So this was not by design. If you all remember, it actually was the third person I was thinking about for the very first show.
No doubt. Yeah.
But here we have two brothers that are both members of the same fraternity, man. How did that happen, man? Business owners, since he's throwing the hooks up. So, man, and I see, Craig, your colors, and you told me before, but I want you to tell the audience, because they might not believe it, that you didn't come up with the colors for the logo for banana and berries, even though it's purple and gold.
I did not. I did not. That was my wife's doing, and it is not purple and gold in her eyes. It is pineapple and grape.
Food colors, that makes sense.
Yes.
So, man, I know from other brothers that I've met in my travels, marketing and PR, taxes and accounting, man, Omega Psi Phi members are entrepreneurs. There are many of you guys who are entrepreneurs.
Yes, sir.
So talk a little bit as we kick this off about, you know, maybe what has inspired you from your fraternity, and then also your story. How did you get into the business that you all are in?
Everything. I can't talk about the business without including Omega Psi Phi, because it started on the campus of WIU at Western Illinois University. I was in graduate school after finishing up undergrad, and like we all kind of start to contemplate things a little bit more seriously, I had a little bit more time, just a little bit, because I was at home studying all the time, and I decided to try and create an experience that I had, as you already know, Brother Toure, when I was a child, when I saw this older woman on the bench with these buckets of ice cream. Well, soft ice cream, should I say. It was homemade. But I had never experienced anything like that since then. And so that was my laboratory. That was my beginning. And I had started off by creating, I don't know if you want to call it ice cream, because it took years and years and years to come up with what we have now. But I was down there with frat brothers and using fraternity brothers and family members to test what was in the making of what we all know today. And so that was a part of my life that I will cherish forever, being down at Western with the bros, and that was my humble beginnings with Shawn Michelle's. Yes, sir.
You know, Toure, when I relate the two, I really have to go back to cardinal principles of Omega Psi Phi, which is manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. So for me, every day, particularly those last two, perseverance and uplift, are always incorporated because, you know, the small business, Yahya, you know, you got to persevere.
Yes, sir. Oh, Lord, have mercy.
You have to persevere because there are trials and tribulations, there are challenges,
Yes, sir.
there are obstacles, and you have to persevere. You know, you have to last through it all, and that's important. At the same time, you have to spread the uplift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to uplift others, employees, community, customers. You know, people who are trying to walk behind you in your footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to reach back and you have to try to uplift others, because going through something, you know, going through the fire, when someone else goes through the fire, you want to help them. You don't want to just say, "Oh, I've been through the fire, too bad for you." You know what I mean? You want to try to build those bridges so that others can cross.
Man, that's excellent. And so, Craig, talk a little bit. There is a underlying love story that I love to hear about how you decided on the type of business that you have. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, you know, this whole, you know, the seed was planted to start this thing back in the late 90s. Around 99, 98, me and my wife were, back when we were dating, and she was doing her residency. She's a physician. She was doing her residency, and I had a 9 to 5, and so getting some time together was often challenging because her schedule was all over the place. And so one of the things we would do sometimes was go on breakfast dates, because that was just the time that was available. And it just kind of became kind of a hobby. We started out with a couple places that we like to go, and we go there kind of regularly. And then we started, you know, venturing out, trying new places, new things. It's turned into a hobby. And I remember one day, sometime around 99, she looked across the table while we were at breakfast at a restaurant, and she said, "You think you'd ever want to open a breakfast restaurant one day?" And I thought about it. I said, that would be a cool entrepreneurial endeavor for us. And, fast forward, 2011, she had we had some job changes going on in the household, and she had a lot of I guess you'd say extra time on her hands. And she come on one day and said, "Hey, let's open up this breakfast restaurant." And I was like, "Yeah, are you sure?" But at the time, we had a lot going on in our lives. 2 different careers. Her career was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But her 2 weeks on, she was gone. Like literally, packed bag and I'm gone. See you in 2 weeks. And then while she's gone for 2 weeks, I'm at home with 4 small kids. I think the oldest at that time may have been about maybe 7 or 8. The youngest I don't even think they were in school yet. So it's kind of like,
everybody was busy.
Yeah. But the flip side was when she was home for 2 weeks, it was she was just off. There was no pager, no nothing. She just had free time. So she was able to start to really lay a lot of the groundwork, foundation, and things like that during those 2 weeks that she'd be home and without any work responsibilities. And so, we kind of, made it happen.
Let's talk about, both of you all, of course, have brick and mortar locations.
Yes.
And from what I know, you all have different pathways to get to that part of your business endeavor.
Yes, sir.
So talk a little bit about the decisions and the process that it took to, take that huge leap. That's an incredible leap of faith and courage and commitment to go from not having an additional light bill that's probably way bigger than the home light bill, additional gas bill, and all of the challenges that come with having a brick and mortar.
Well, I tell you, my whole journey has been a little bit different. Mine has been just one big leap of faith after the other. I did not leave college with the intentions on starting an ice cream business. And after coming home from school and working, I still was just making ice cream because that's my number one dessert. You give me a choice for dessert, it's going to be ice cream. Bottom line, those who know me know that. And so in the process of coming home, working, I, of course, heard the teachings that Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and do for self. And there was a brother who owned a grocery store, Brother Aaron and Brother Ronnie, as you know. And I took them that gritty stuff that I was making and with the intent for them to try it and tell me what they thought. And they were real nice to me. And they just didn't want to tell me how bad the ice cream was. And so Brother Ronnie was just playing with me. He said, "Man, you ought to go into business." And that was just a aha moment for me because my grandmother was a business owner. And my uncle was a business owner, so I had the blessings of watching Black entrepreneurship. And I always wanted to do that. And so I started off making that same stuff that they was nice enough not to tell me how bad it was, but maybe that was good because I started selling that from the trunk of my car in the wintertime. I was working a job and started selling ice cream on the side. I took my first endeavor by renting out small rooms in the back of other people's stores, making ice cream, still selling ice cream on my own through the vehicle and making deliveries, as you know, back in the days yourself.
I bear witness.
So it's a journey from there to my first brick and mortar in 1998 on 79th Street. And without any plans, but I believe that I was not just could do it, but I believe I always had a dream of being that I tasted a long time ago when my moms took me to Baldwin's. And everybody would talk about Baldwin's ice cream. And so I just want to take a moment to salute first the bridge that I'm walking across of those who came before me in the field of Black entrepreneurship in Chicago. But from that point there, it was Jabril Supreme Cream at the time. and my sister passed in 1999 in a unfortunate evil accident of time in a car accident. So I took a little time to kind of regroup and, you know, a little introspection. And a few years later, I restarted the business again as a dedication to her, Shawn Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream. She was also in the culinary arts. She gave me the inspiration for my first name, which was Jabril Supreme Cream, named after myself. And so it's been one leap of faith after another. So we opened up 95th Street without being too long, because I'm sure Craig, you know, has a very inspiring story to tell us.
Not actually.
So we went to 95th Street and laid this. We had the old currency exchange on the corner of Calumet. And so momentum started to pick up some. And not too much longer afterwards is when we had that little shift in the marketplace, the little change with the economy. I had opened up another store on 119th Street. And the store on 119th Street was doing even better than the one on 95th Street. And so I was also engaged with some real estate at the time. And so I decided to kind of reel back just a little bit. And so I decided to go with just 119th Street. And that's where things really kind of started to take off in terms of people finding out about Shawn Michelle's, getting some of the notoriety through the local media outlets. And as my brother was talking about perseverance, you know, it looks like glitter and gold on the outside, but to whom much is given, much is always required. There's no way around that at all whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It was so challenging at one point, because here I am with the aspirations of selling homemade ice cream, which is very expensive to make. Mm-hmm. But my ideal is to always sell it in a way that the community can access it. So I wasn't making a lot of profit, to say the least. So I remember one day things was, man, at the point where I said, man, to heck with this. I was ready to do what I do and continue in the path of real estate or whatever. And I got a call from Cliff Kelly that evening. And out of nowhere, he said, Yahya, I want you to come on down to the station. You know, they want to interview me that night. And somehow, Cliff Kelly's interview was tying Shawn Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream into the larger picture of the struggle to rebuild our communities. I knew from that very second that this was bigger than myself, and I had to continue, and I knew that was God telling me to stay the course. And so I never contemplated again after that moment. And so it's been one blessing, one struggle, one difficulty, some ease after another. And from 116th Street, I eventually expanded with the ideal of incorporating some other things. And from that, you had 87th Street, which was a positive experience. Every experience was a learning experience. To the north side of Chicago, because I was looking for another location on the south side, but the location that I had in mind, I did not have access to at the time. And from there, good brother of mine, Jamal King, with King's Kitty Kingdom, and he's doing his other thing. Big ups to Jamal, because he's part of my story. He said, Yahya, come on over to the Rosenwald building. They doing some good things coming up. And this is when it was all nothing but dirt and dust. You had to have a hard hat on just to walk into the building. Mud on your shoes, the whole entire 9 yards. And God used Jamal to say something to me that resonated. Jamal said, Yahya, man, turn right and look and don't look back. And for a person like me, that's all those are the things that click with me. And I closed the north side the very next day. I had plans on the Rosenwald building being open that November, but that didn't happen. And I'm glad, because I had no idea of the type of contribution that it would take in order to do such an endeavor. And by God's grace, things all worked out. And here we are on 47th Street in Wabash. And this is, you know, part of where we are today.
You are. Brother Craig, I know you have a marketing background, and you talk about location. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how you found that sweet spot over there on Lincoln Avenue.
Okay. But y'all left out one thing, though. The truck.
The ice cream truck, Big Blue.
The truck used to be the bomb, man. You be, you know, a nice hot summer day, and you walk around Hyde Park, and you're like, oh, there's the grab your kid by the hand, like, come on, we about to go here and get some ice cream.
Yes.
I hope you bring that truck back, actually.
Yes, sir.
I think we need that back in the city.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There it is, huh?
There it is. That's another affirmation. Right here on Black Business Matters.
Right.
Another click.
Think about that for a minute, though. That was like one of the first food trucks.
It was.
Wow.
That was like one of the first food trucks that was operating.
Wow. Yeah.
In the city of
That's
Chicago.
right. That was before this big wave now.
Yes,
Yeah, so you was ahead of the game on that. So it just might be time to get back in that game.
Right. There it is.
I'm just dropping that out there. I'm just throwing that out there. We'll see how that goes.
Another
See
aha
where it lands.
moment.
That's right. It's an aha moment right
So
there.
you can reach some different markets. We can
Yes,
get a whole
indeed. Come
discussion on that.
I like that we part. Yes,
So the brick and mortar. You remember how in the Wizard of Oz, how that house just landed on. That's kind of how this thing just kind of landed on me. So, my wife, again, out looking at different properties, and she really started on the south side. Really, people think we chose the north side for any particular reason, but we didn't. She was actually looking for locations along the south side. And what was happening, though, she was kind of running into brick walls because landlords were kind of scrutinizing, the concept and the idea. And since there was no history, a lot of them were saying, nah, I don't think that's going to work right here. Nah, I don't think that's going to be good for this particular property. And so, after some, and I get it, they're looking for longevity. They're looking for something that, that they can put into a space that'll continue to generate income, and because turnover costs money. I get it from a business standpoint. So she started branching out different parts of the city looking. And so one of the things she was looking for was restaurant spaces that had been restaurant spaces already been closed. She found that spot and, told the landlord what we plan to do with it. And the landlord said, I'm going to need first/last month's rent and security deposit. It's like, y'all can figure out your business from there. I just need you to run that shop.
Right.
So she come home one day, she got a lease, and she's like, we need a cashier's check for $20,000. And I'm like, ooh, I guess this is real, huh? So I was like, she could see, stress on my face, like, what? She was like, so later on, she was like, let's pray about it. And so, so we held hands and we prayed about it. And, we looked at each other and said, okay, we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And so that's kind of how we ended up where we are. It kind of just checked out, it checked off some boxes in terms of some criteria, size, parking, some different things it checked off. But it also was an open door. And so we walked into it.
Man, so these open doors, I love it. Both of you all, I've seen from different perspectives that, Yahya, I know a lot more. We talk almost every day. And, there are two things that get him excited. One is way up here, right? That's when we talk about our man, our wonderful man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. And then if there's anything secondary to that after family, it's food.
That is embarrassing.
Right. And he gets excited Man, talking about food, and Craig, I've observed you from a distance, going to different places and tasting and sampling food, and you appear to enjoy food as well.
Oh yeah.
So, but let's talk about you all's creations. We're talking about over 50 types of French toast. We're talking more than 32 flavors. You may not have them all displayed at one time, but incredible flavors. What was that first French toast and that first ice cream that you said, okay, we about to change the game?
I tell you, my whole thing is I just share with others what I love myself. And if I don't love it, I don't get excited about it. I know it sounds a little selfish, but things I'm passionate about, I just love to share with other people. And my very first ice cream that I started making, believe it or not, was not vanilla. Although I have a theme that everybody loves vanilla, and I don't care what flavor you like, everybody comes back home. And that's grandma's vanilla, brother. But I first started off, and I never tasted this flavor before. I said, man, honey and cinnamon graham crackers would taste good together with ice cream. And that was my very first ice cream, was honey cinnamon graham cracker, which is still to this very day one of the #1 sellers, and it always has been. And so, again, my thing is I just love to share my passions with others. If I really, really love something and even have a food concept that I think others would enjoy, that I would enjoy, I just love to share it. I love to make people happy through the expression of making ice cream.
What are some of the other top sellers?
Oh, wow. I tell you, given that I serve our community, my experience has been consistent. No matter what, it's always banana pudding. It's always vanilla, homemade vanilla. It's always black walnut, butter pecan, cookies and cream, Jamaican rum raisin, and honey cinnamon graham. I don't care whatever else I do. In our community, those are the ones.
Yeah, those are some of my favorites. That honey cinnamon graham is the first. I always try to venture out and do something different. All of them, always a great payoff. But maybe it was because that was my first one, that honey cinnamon graham. That's the one I get consistently.
And I think that the others are #1 because it represents more than just food. See, these particular flavors represent culture. They represent memories for us, and so it's a part of our life experience. So although we have plenty of other, flavors to just make you do a dance, and that's a fact. Make no mistake about it. But at the end of the day, it's something about those traditional flavors, especially making it the way that we make it. It just really kind of take you back home,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And man, Brother Craig, anytime I come to Baton Berries, I have to get the flight, because I cannot just decide on just one French toast, man. So I have to get the flight so I can figure out and get a bunch of different ones. But every single one has been a payoff, and I see the enthusiasm and the passion that you display that resonates, and Yahya as well. Your staff at both locations, man, and resonate, and they really reflect both of you all's commitment to excellence. I know because I've been in sometimes where you all know I'm there. Sometimes I pop in when you don't know I'm popping in, and Yahya's is a little easier sometimes because a few of his workers know me, so they gonna act right.
No surprise.
But even with some, it's been a couple times since people in there that don't know me, and it's still the same amount of excellence. And both of y'all locations. But Craig, talk a little bit about those different flavors and how you all came up with them.
So you know what, my focus is always on the right now, because what you did yesterday don't really matter. We were having this conversation the other day, and it is very much of what have you done for me lately. So, we talk about how many we've done, but the most important one is the one on the table right now.
Yes, sir.
You know, because everyone is going to have their personality. So the most important one right now is ruby chocolate raspberry.
Ooh.
Made out of ruby chocolate. Yeah, Chef Ken snapped on this one. It's nuts with some. It's yeah. You go to Instagram, Facebook, look at the picture of that one.
How about it?
It is nuts. It's also in honor of Women's History Month. But you know, early on and now, it's a restaurant, so food's important, right? But I don't try to get too caught up in the food because it's a business. And there's different aspects of business that all have to work together. And so, you talk about service, you talk about ambience, all those things, because I've been to restaurants with great food and you look up and they're gone. What happened? Where'd it go? I've been to restaurants where the food sucks and you can't get rid of them. They've been around for 20, 30 years and it's like, how? Why? Yuck. But they still there because they're doing something right. So you have to look at it from a broader picture. Yeah, food is important because it's a restaurant. But you also have to make sure that all the other things all kind of match, I guess you can say. So if you got high level food and low level service, it's not a good match. You got high level service, low level food, it's not a good match. So you got to try to make sure that things kind of match. And so that's really where I try to put my focus, because I try to look at the whole picture, and not just one aspect. I get people, and I tell them, you take care of that aspect, and you take care of that aspect, and you take care of that aspect, and make sure that they're all running at this level, so that we can create an experience. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Man, both of you all, I've seen do different types of collaborations with other entrepreneurs. Talk a little bit about, how that works, why it's important, and why you saw opportunities to do it. And if there anything that's, in the future coming up as well.
I think that it's very important. Matter of fact, it's essential that we recognize that we all going in the same direction. We all have, the goals might not be exactly the same, but we all have the same goal. And, it's power in unity. If you can unite with others with like interests and pool your resources, you can get there a little bit faster. And it also represents a positive sign for the community as well. I think that that's one of the areas that we suffer from. We don't work together enough. And we always think this, we're in competition with someone else. But you go to other communities and you see a doggone ice cream shop on every block. You see a bread shop on every block. You see breakfast joints on every block. We're the only ones that think that we're in competition with our brother. It might be two places in the whole entire south side of Chicago. So that there, I believe, is what we should always be doing, trying to build relationships with those who do things similar to what we're doing. At the very least, we can leverage our economic power, our buying power. But even better than that, when we can find someone who compliments you and to bring the experience for our people up even higher. For instance, I was with Brown Sugar Bakery. Me and Stephanie still in the laboratory to create this this love song of a cake and Shawn Michelle's ice cream together. Yes. not just with Stephanie. Man, please, Craig already know. Just we do Alamos at Shawn Michelle's, but just the thought of some Shawn Michelle's ice cream on the side of one of those heavenly creations that Lord have mercy.
It's coming. It's coming, folks.
Or just being able
it's
to
coming.
benefit.
We are working on it.
Come on.
Man,
We're
from
working on it.
Seeing us all.
I'm gonna slap my mama, man. My son, where my son at?
This is already. This is a conversation behind the scenes that's already happening.
Come on. Oh, come on.
It
Y'all
has
are
to
hearing it
happen.
on Black Business Matters, man. You getting the scoop.
It has
you
to
getting the
happen.
scoop.
This is happening. Yeah, we already talked about that. This is
Yes,
happening.
indeed.
Exciting. That's exciting. Oh man, I
and
can't
it-
wait.
and it
I
could
need to be there the debut of
Right,
that.
right.
First day. Let me know. Make sure I know I'm there.
Live broadcast on the first day.
Right. Oh man, that's exciting, man.
Yes, indeed.
You know, for us, you know, in this world, this culinary world, this, you know, collaborating is kind of about a couple different things. It's about art and creativity, you know, that all goes together, and community, right? So, like, Chef Ken loves to collaborate with other
Mighty Chef King.
culinarians, you know, so that's why he wants to do a collaboration with Shawn Michelle's. We've done collaborations with Brown Sugar Bakery, with Freestyle. We've done, you know, Justice of the Pies. It's been a couple of chocolate makers, CPS, After School Matters, the young chefs in training. We've done some stuff with them. I mean, that list. So, but it stirs the creative juices on both ends, you know, and to create art together.
That's right. That's right.
The other side, though, it also shows community. You know, like the guy I was saying, you know, people watch. People are looking from the outside, and to be able to see people working together in unison versus in competition. Or, you know, look what I did. We're working together. We are showcasing all of our talents, all of our products, and we're showcasing them together. And I think that's a great example, especially for young entrepreneurs, for young people in general, to be able to see that in our community. Because in our community, man, right now, especially, you know, and I ain't gonna say just young people, but because it really started in our generation. It's so much competition, one-upping, you know, you listen to the music, everything, everybody's got to one-up the other person. I got, you know, more bling than yours. You know, there's so much competition, and, you know, young folks got to know that we can work together.
That's right.
For the benefit of all. It ain't always gonna be, you know, my car's bigger than yours, and you know what I mean. So that, I think it's important that we do that and kind of set that tone for our community.
That's right.
Absolutely, man. I love this message. You all are listening to the Black Business Matters show. This is March 6th, the very first one. We have Craig Richardson with Batter and Berries, and we have Yahya Muhammad with Shawn Michelle's homemade ice cream. Man, I want to give a quick shout out to our two sponsors for this show. One is Dan Soul Food and Cafe, located on 79th and what's that, Maple? But they are, I'll get the address. We'll make sure we put that in the comments. An excellent place to get some fresh food. They got tons of vegetables. Most of it is vegan. I think 12 of the 13 are vegan friendly. And man, they make sure that they have a clean establishment and the food is always hot and fresh. So y'all check out Dan Soul Food. We'll put the information in the comment section of this one. And then we have a real estate developer, Wendy Muhammad. She's a powerhouse sister who built a micro hospital, a $20 million micro hospital in the DC area. And she's working on a project here where she has purchased the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad on 4748 South Woodline. And she's turning into the Sajda House, which will be a cultural center, a business cultural center to promote and edify and showcase Black businesses of the past and give support and mentorship and information for this new generation of entrepreneurs. So we appreciate them for helping to make this first show possible. And I want you all to talk a little bit. Well, first, what is your that business book that you may go back to, that you refer to, or that you think had the most impact on you, whether it's directly related to business or just help with a mindset?
Let me see. For myself, for me, I have to say The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandingo. And what it is about that book in particular, just the mindset, that has always been one of my favorite books, as small as it is. But what Og Mandingo was able to illustrate in that book was a body of principles, that just perseverance, seeing it through, and just dedication and all of that, this commitment, all that good stuff. And so that's for me, myself. There's been several others I can go on and on for that matter, but that one is one. I read that book as soon as I got out of college, and it has been just just a powerful just reference point for me, just to that has been inspiring.
Beautiful. Craig?
Probably say the the E-Myth, and it really kind of breaks down about why a lot of small business fail, different obstacles and things. Most restaurants fail because somebody knows how to cook, but they don't know how to run a business. And so that book kind of really breaks down some of those things in terms of, you need to know more than just the skill to start a business. You need to know how to operate a business. The skill is great, it's a good start, but you need to have more than that if you need to run and operate a business. So that's what I don't get a chance to read a whole lot of books, but I read a lot of, I guess you say, periodicals, articles, things that just kind of keep you up to date and current on the business world and business environment.
Man, beautiful. Yep, both of those books I've read myself, powerhouse books. So, man, we're coming to the end of the very first show. Wow. You all have been listening and watching History, Black Business Matters, with myself, Toure Muhammad, March 6th. This has been an incredible show. I hope you all have been getting some of the gems that these two brothers have been dropping on you, man. You can take what you've learned from them and go start that business. Get started, like we said in the beginning. It's time to get started. As we close out, I want you all to definitely tell us the locations or your locations of your shops, and give us some closing remarks.
Okay. Of course, 46 East 47th Street, which is on the corner of 47th and Wabash in Chicago. And again, as you have mentioned, we're just dedicated to serving the community and building a bridge. We always say take you back down memory lane, but we say this time bring your children too. And so we just want to continue to just be excellent. We want to continue to get a very, 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 very best. We want to continue to keep it homemade. We want to, that's our part of our contribution of helping to change our community. To me, if you can't be what you can't see. And the more the youth that we complain about so bad, see those like them striving to do something for them and making a difference in our community, I believe that would be a seed that will be planted, and it's being planted, that will produce more people like me, like Craig, like yourself. And so even in reference to that, on the 21st, I'm going to do a question and answer series, the first question and answer series at the shop on Saturday morning. That's Saturday from 10 to 12. For those who might have questions of how to start a business, everybody's always asking questions. And so that session will be dedicated to those who would like to find out more from my experience, and we'll probably have others as well who would like to also share, just to share that information to continue to inspire.
Beautiful. Run out of time, Craig.
Okay, you can find us at 2748 North Lincoln Avenue, Batter and Berries. In mid-May, we plan to reopen our Riverwalk walk-up kiosk, which is located in between Michigan and Wabash on the Chicago River.
Love it.
We're looking forward to coming to Olympia Fields and to the Alston neighborhood in Chicago.
Beautiful.
Ooh, beautiful, man. Y'all are getting some scoops here
on
on Black Business Matters. You've been listening to a credible show with Yahya Muhammad and Craig Richardson. Myself as the host, Toure Muhammad. Your digital content strategist and publicist, Toure Muhammad. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be back next week at the same time. So tell a friend to tell a friend who is in business that we need sponsors. We're looking for a co-host too to complement myself. So man, put the word out there, and we look forward to talking to you all again next week.